that was what we had back then, and that works really well. But it does require a few extra steps for the teachers to do that. And, some teachers may not be as comfortable with doing that as others. And then we were talking about bulb. And I was like, bulb is pretty protected. You don't have to worry about the outside getting into it with the way we can publish it. And I thought, all students have access to bulb. Bulb is a really nice, pretty platform. Maybe we should be using bulb for digital binders. Now, I'm not saying that if you're using Google Sites to stop. I'm not saying that if you're whatever it is that you're using now to stop using that. I'm just trying to give you another avenue, another way to get those binders online. In this world we live in today, I don't know if we're ever going to be able to have a whole class where we're going to have those physical binders again with everybody, and with having to rinse everything down and sanitize everything. That might become kind of an issue. So digital might be a better way for us to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually present my bulb. I'm going to go ahead and present this page here. I'm going to go back home. And this is a bulb that I created. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all about sharks. And this is my main page. And I want you to think of bulb like a big, beautiful Tupperware container. And we all know that Tupperware is all about the matchy-matchy inside, right? If it's purple on the outside, you're going to have containers inside that are purple, and it's really pretty to look at, right? That's one thing about Tupperware. So this is this big, huge container. This is my whole bulb. When I take the lid off, inside I've got other containers inside, and those are called my collections. And when I open up that collection, inside are all of my pages that I can look at and I can read. So that's what I want you to think about bulb. It's like this great big huge Tupperware container, and when I lift off the lid, I've got all of these smaller containers in here called collections, and when I open up a collection, inside of that collection are pages. So when you create a page, you can just create a page. I can just have a page just laying in here in my Tupperware, but it's going to kind of float around a little bit. It's not going to be inside of another container, which Tupperware loves to do. So I would put that page inside of a container just to kind of keep it safe, and that way it's just not kind of floating out there in outer space. You can do that. You can totally do that if you want to, if you don't want to create a collection. But for me, I personally like to have the collections. So here is my main page, and I have two collections. I have a collection of my data, and this is all about data about me. Well, most of it. And I have a collection of my life experience. And this is like personal stuff about me. So again, for your students, when we want to think about that digital binder, and I know we just want to have all just that data in there. But what about getting a little more creative and letting them customize it a bit and making it about them, about their family, about things that they like to do. Having that personal touch on it might make them want to use it more, and of course they'll get excited about it because they created it, right? So we're going to take a look at the data part first. And in the data, I want you to notice that in my collection here of data, I have 3 pages. I have a non-academic data page, an academic data page, and a digital badge page. Now, for non-academic data, we talk about, we talk about the test scores and whether they've mastered this skill and this TEK, and that's very powerful and very, very important. But it's also important that we track data on our kids that's non-academic. Maybe how many times maybe they have a goal that they want to swim a mile at some point, and so they're tracking how many laps a day they're doing if they've got a pool, or if they're going to a pool. Well, right now they're not, but if they're they're tracking how far they're swimming. For me, I'm tracking how far I'm walking. For somebody else, it might be that they're tracking that they're wanting to learn a song on the guitar, so they're tracking how many minutes they're practicing every day for that. They're tracking how many times a day that they fight with their sister. They're trying to bring that down, or with their brother. They're trying to to get along better. So they're tracking there's all kinds of different things that kids can track on their own that they can put into their non-academic data. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one up here. Okay. And what I did was I put in a I just put in a Google Sheet into this. Now, right now it says here, embeds are not interactive in edit mode. I need to go to the page to view it and actually to change the data on it. But I can go to present mode and it looks a little bit nicer because this doesn't look very nice like that. So if I click on present, now what it's going to do is it's going to give you the right view. It's going to give you the more beautiful Tupperware view, right? So here's my non-academic data. All right, so we just got a treadmill because, we're not moving around as much as we used to. So we started on the 24th and I walked almost a half a mile for 15 minutes and I didn't feel that great about it. I felt meh about it, right? And then the next day I walked, twice as much. I walked for 17 minutes and I still felt meh because, it's the second day and you just don't feel it so hot when you're starting to work out a little bit. And then on the third day I walked 1.1. I did it for 22 minutes. Hey, but I'm feeling happy because my time is extending, right? So now I'm feeling a little bit better about myself. And as we go down and down and down. So this is some non-academic data that your kids could do. They could track, like I said, they could track anything. And you can add a feeling in there if you wanted to, distance, minutes, whatever it is. We do want to give them the opportunity to track something other than just the academic data. And I even added something over here to this side. I have to use a little slider. And let me go back up. I added a chart in here. And so as a teacher, I could pull this student up and we could pull up this bulb and we could look at it together and we'd say, look at this. You are just doing really, really good. The bars are going up, which means that you're improving every single day. What is your secret? How are you doing this? And we can have a discussion about that. Or if it's plateauing, we can talk, hey, what's going on at home? Is something happening? You're not swimming as farther as you used to, or for as long as you used to. You're not picking that guitar up. You haven't done that for a few days. What's going on here? So you can have those conversations with your kids, not just about the academic stuff, about non-academic stuff too. Kind of get to know your students a little bit better, almost like an SEL component. But also, Catlin Tucker, touched on it so much today about offering feedback, and this is you are offering feedback to your students, and also just getting to know them better. What better way to make those great relationships? I know I say in the classroom, but in our virtual classrooms as of right now. So this is our non-academic data, and I'm going to actually show you how to build this spreadsheet. I'm going to show you how kind of I did it, and I have to actually go to the spreadsheet to make the changes. I can't make any changes here. This is just like a container. This is not a way for me to edit it. So my students are going to have to edit that data, and I'm going to show you how to send that out to your students via Google Classroom and via another way where it's going to force them to make a copy of it. So I'm going to go ahead and exit, and I'm going to go back. And now let's take a look at our academic data. And again, I'm going to present so that way it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so right here, we're going to say that this is about test results or assessments of some type, right? And I have a date of May 25th here. And right here where it says subject, you can't see it on this because this is just the view. But I'm going to show you on the other side as well how to fix this. But I actually have what's called data validation in here. And when there's a little disclosure arrow right here that you can't see, and when you click on it, it's actually going to put which subject that this particular assignment or assessment was about, whether it's social studies, science, math, reading. And I did that on purpose because I used to teach first grade, and I know first graders, that would be really difficult for them to type it out, and it probably wouldn't look the same on every line. So I said, okay, these are their options. They choose one of these options, and then they're going to put in their subject. Then for the score, what I did is I did some conditional formatting, and again, I'm going to show you that on the other side here in just a minute. So when I put in a 72, the color is going to be maybe like a pink color, and if I put in a 95, it's going to be green. Now, at just a glimpse, a student, a teacher, whoever sees this data, they're going to know and go, oh, wow, I did really well here. Here's something I need to work on. And then they'll be able to look at that and split second, be able to, instead of having to, pour over the data, they can look at it very quickly and decide. And then what I have over here is I have reviewed. So let's say that I'm a student and I'm working with my teacher, I 75, and we're talking about my score. We're going to click the checkbox right here and click review that my teacher has gone over this with me. We've had a discussion about this, and now I have a goal in order to help me get a better score next time, and to help me do better for next time. So this is kind of an important thing too. So I would like to have the check marks on mine, just so that way I know that, okay, yeah, I did go over that with Johnny. I did go over that with Alyssa. So okay, we're good there. And it's, it's going to help keep me on track, and it's going to keep my students on track. Because if they don't have any check marks, it means we haven't had any discussions. And that's kind of an important thing. Again, going back to that feedback, going back to what Catlin Tucker was saying about that. I really like that she said that. It was like, oh yes, validation for everything. So I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to go to the actual spreadsheets where that I put in here. Now, again, it's pulling from those spreadsheets and it's just displaying them here. I can't go in here and make any corrections or anything, but I can go in to the actual spreadsheet, and here it is. Okay, here's my spreadsheet. And again, you're going to see that here's my subject, and I have my little disclosure arrow. And when I click it, I can either put in science, reading, math, or social studies. I'm going to go ahead and put science in here. Okay, and I'm going to say that what did I say I got? I got a 72. Put a 72 in there, and then you'll notice that my conditional formats came up over here. I kind of had that open from the last time. So if my score is equal to 90 or greater, it's going to be green. If it's between 78 and 89, it's going to be pink. It's orange because I'm between 77 and 69. And if it's 68 or less, it's going to be red. So if I put in some numbers in here, 92, and I put in here 84, I put in here, whatever number I want, 61, you're going to see that very quickly I can go, oh, wow, okay, we did really well here, but not so well here. So this is what we need to look at this, and we need to make some goals about this. And when we do the review, we just put a little check mark in there that yes, we reviewed this together, we discussed this, and we can move on to the next piece, right? We could even, if we wanted to, had a notes section here where I could write notes, or the student could write notes about this, and go from there. Now, if I want each of my students to have one of these, before I put any data on it, I'm going to want to share that out with them. And how am I going to do that? So one of the things I can do is I can share it through Google Classroom, right? So if I go to my Google Classroom right here, and I'm actually going to exit out of this assignment, and I go to create, I'm under classwork, and I'm going to create an assignment, and I'm going to title this Data Tracker, right? And I'm going to add from my Google Drive to this assignment. And it's going to pull up my most recent things that I've been working on. And there's my test data, the one I was just on right now. So I'm going to add that. Now, again, I wouldn't want any data on this. I'd want to make sure my conditional formatting was in there, and I would want to make sure that my data validation was in there. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. I'll show that to you in just a minute. So my test data is here, and I don't want the students to view just this one file because they're going to mess it up, and it's going to be a free-for-all. So I go down to make a copy for every student. Now, I don't know if you all know this about the make a copy for every student, but I'm going to tell you. So let's say that I assign this, and I assign this as all students can view this file, and then I go, oh, dang it, I wanted to give it to all my students for them to make a copy, and I've already assigned this. I can't go back and edit it and make a copy for everybody. It won't let me do that. So I need to make sure that I do it when I create the assignment. If I do forget, then you're going to need to delete this assignment and do it again. Because when you go back to edit it, you're not going to get the option to make a copy for every student. I know. It's Google's working on it, and you can help them work on it by clicking the little question mark down here in the corner. And when you click on that, you give them feedback. The more they read every bit of the feedback. So if we have 850,000 people say that they want to be able to make a copy for every student through the edit, that's going to be what they're going to want to work on. So, give them the feedback if that's what you want. All right, I'll get off my soapbox about that now. All right, so now if I give this to all of my students, I'm going to go ahead and click make a copy. What's going to happen is, of course, it's going to put their name on this spreadsheet, and it'll say, Misha Daniel, my test data.
Okay. Misha, can I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely.
I see right now your spreadsheet. Are you showing us Google Classroom or?
Oh my goodness! You know what? I clicked on. I apologize. I clicked on Google Classroom and I didn't click on the tab. I do that sometimes because I think you're right along there with me. I forget about that. Let me make sure I'm on the right one here. As I kept looking at that and I wasn't changing it. Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. So what I did was I clicked on the assignment. I added the assignment and I make a copy for each student, right? And it's going to put their name on it, and it's going to say their name and my test data. And so that's great for Google Classroom, but not every teacher uses Google Classroom. Some teachers just share information or share documents out with their students. So, or sometimes, we like to share, and we share things out with our colleagues. Well, if you share something out with your colleague and, you kind of just click the share button and you share it with them, of course, you're both going to have edit access to that document. What's going to happen if your colleague decides that they're going to make changes to that document that you worked really, really hard on, and you didn't think to make a copy of it? What's going to happen? We all know what's going to happen. It's going to be a mess, right? And you're going to be really sad because you spent all that time and work and now it's all gone, right? Yes, there's a way to get it back, but that's a few extra steps that we don't want to have to take. So to fix that, I'm going to go back to my document, and this time I'm going to make sure I share properly. I apologize for not doing that the last time. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the share button right here. Okay. And I'm going to leave it as anyone with on the internet has a link, and I have that option, and you have the option for Isleta. The reason I have the internet option is because we do share out with other districts and other people outside. So they gave that, whatever you want to call it, that permission to us. But yours will say with everybody who's within YISD. So once it says that, you're going to copy the link. Okay, maybe I'm going to put this in an email, but maybe I'm sending this to one of my colleagues. I don't just want to share with them. I mean, I can, but even if I just give them view rights, they may or may not be able to make a copy of it, and they may forget to make a copy of it, and then they're going to ask you for edit rights anyway. So I copy the link, and I'm going to go into a document that I have open here. Okay, so let me get to this document right here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this link in here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see this really good. And you can see I kind of did it above with the other group as well. Here's the link. This is the link to the spreadsheet. Okay, and this is like an edit link. You see, because you see the word edit right here. Well, I'm going to change that because I want to force the person who's going to get this link to make a copy. So in order to do that, I click right here and I erase just the word edit. I don't erase the question mark. I don't erase the slash. I don't erase anything else, just the word edit, just those 4 little letters. And I'm going to type in the word copy. Okay. You zoom back out a little bit here. Okay. So now I'm going to copy this link, highlight it, Command C because I'm on a Mac, or Control C if I'm on a PC. And I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to put this in tab. I'm going to test it to make sure that it's working properly. So I'm going to open up a new tab here. I'm going to share out this tab with everybody so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to paste the link that I just changed from edit to copy into the browser window, and look what it does. It is forcing me to make a copy. I can't even look at this document until I make a copy of it. And when I make a copy, of course, it's going to put it into my Google Drive, and now it's mine. And the copy that my friend sent me is still theirs. No one's going to touch it because it's just, I have to make a copy before I can even look at it. So this is a great way to share out stuff with colleagues in the event that they don't make copies. So I know sometimes we create Google Forms or we create Google Documents, and we do want to share those out. I suggest using this method, so that way you keep your originals yours, and then they've got an original that they can edit and do whatever they want with, and it's theirs, and you don't have to worry about, oh, did they make a copy? Oh, please tell me they made a copy. You know, and sometimes you want to make a copy and give it to them. That's good. But now then you have 2 copies in your Google Drive. This kind of prevents that from happening as well. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Are we good? Let me make sure. Does teacher set up the conditional formatting beforehand, or does she walk the students through? I personally, the first time I would set it up, and I'm going to show you how to do that actually right now. I'm going to go back to my form here, my spreadsheet, and we're going to take a look at how I did this. This is really easy to do. And again, I really don't want any data in here if I'm going to be sharing this out with students, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of take all of this out. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to do, first of all, we're going to talk about how did I get the data validation, which is what these little arrows, these little disclosure arrows are. So what I did was, I just drug my mouse down as far as I wanted to go. And I said, okay, I'm going to do some data validation here. So I go up to data because that's where the data validation is. And I click data validation. And what I did was, I said, okay, I want a list of items. So I chose list of items from right here from the criteria, and it has all different types of criteria in there, but I chose list of items, and then I put in science, comma, reading, comma, math, comma, social studies. And then I clicked save, and I'll click save again. So now when I click on it, those are the only choices that can go into this cell and any of these cells because I had selected all of them. Right? That's the only thing that can go into that cell. If you try to put something else in there, it will not allow you to. Only these are the options that you have right here. Science, reading, math, social studies. Okay. That's how you do the data validation. Once again, I just highlighted, went up to data and data validation, and then I set it up. If you don't want to do list of items, you can do it by number. You can do it by text. You can do it by any of these parameters that are in here, but I like the list of items because then it gives them exactly what's supposed to go in there, and then they have to choose which one of those is going to go in there. Okay. All right. For the conditional formatting, and that's what I did here. Again, all I did was drag, right? Okay. And that's going to be under format. So data validation is under data, and conditional formatting is under format. And I go down here to conditional formatting, and you're going to see these are my parameters. If I want to add a rule, I just click add a rule, and you're going to format the cell if, well, that's not the one I want. I don't want if is not empty. So I click on the disclosure arrow, and I have all of these choices. The ones I used were right here, greater than or equal to, less than. So I had to figure out what my groups of numbers were going to be for each of my colors. And then I chose accordingly from this group here. Okay. You can do it by date. You can do it by what the text is in the cell. It's up to you. I chose to do it by equal to, greater than or equal to, less than, and then in between. I did the in between as well. Okay. So, whoops, let me get back in here. We're going to cancel this so you can see here, because the value is greater than or equal to 90. And we did kind of go through these already. But then all I did was I just formatted the color, because you're able to do that as well. Okay, so if I click on it, see the color is green, and I would check the fill, change the fill color to whatever it is that I wanted to change. And that's how you do that. So again, this is the conditional formatting, which is what I would put here. And then once I have my formatting and my data validation set up, then I would go ahead and share that out with my students. To add the check marks, it's super easy to add the check marks. All you do, again, you just highlight the number of cells where you want those check marks to appear, and you're going to insert the checkbox. That's it. and it'll insert them right there for you. And then all you have to do, you can check them or uncheck them as you go through. I did the same thing with the smiley faces on my walking one. What I did was I inserted an image in the cell, okay? And it's asking me, okay, where do you want that image to come from? And I went to Google image search, because that's usually where I get my images, is from the Google image search. And I searched for smiley face. Okay, I found the one I liked and I inserted it. And it's going to insert it right here. There it is. And then I also inserted a meh face. And then what I did was, now it's saying invalid because I changed the checkbox to this when this whole row was a checkbox originally. So we got to be a little bit careful with that, but that's all right. I'm just going to delete that out of there. There we go. All right. So, but all you do then is would just copy paste. Like for the smiley faces or the meh faces, they just click on it and then they just copy with a Command C or a Control C. Click it, copy, and then you can just paste it down in the next cell. Or, you know, if you want to do several cells, you just drag and it'll go into several cells at the same time. Are there any questions about the spreadsheet? Are we okay now with the data formatting and all that? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the bulb itself, how to get started with the bulb and how to kind of put things together in there. It's super easy to add stuff to the bulb. And again, I'm not telling you that this is what you have to do. I just know that all of your students already have access to this. You have access to this. Most of us do. I know there's still a few people that they're still trying to get everybody access to it. So, you know, bear with our department. You know, with Clever right now is frozen, but once it opens back up when school starts, you'll be able to get in. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my bulb. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go all the way back to the home page. And to get to the home page, you just click on the word bulb and it'll take you all the way out to your main page here and you can create a page or a collection in any part of bulbs. It doesn't have to be within a collection. It doesn't have to be on a specific page. You can create them anywhere. And if you don't want to have the icon view, of course, you can change it to the longer view. I like to have the icons because I like to see everything. So I just love that chart guy right there. All right, so how do I go about creating a page? Well, there's a button, it says create page, and again, you'll see this everywhere. It's not just on this page, it's everywhere, on every page. I click create page. And I'm just going to title it me. Okay, I can add a cover image. And you'll see those cover images that I use. Got them from Google, that's it. And I can use them because they're from Google and they're copyright friendly. I don't have to worry. I can upload an image if I want to. I can get them from my Google Photos if I want to, but I like to do a web search. And of course, what do I always search for, no matter what time of the year it is? I always search for sharks. All right, I'm going to choose this one. So I click it, and now it's going to put it in the top of my page. There it is. Okay, so now I click save. Okay, and now it is saved on my page there. That's my top part. I can actually go back in and I can move it. If I want to move it, it's going to let me, I can adjust it just a little bit up and down. I can't adjust it side to side, only up and down. So that's something to think about. And it does kind of enlarge the image. So they have to be thinking about that with the images that they're going to put in there. Okay, left it in there. And now to add something to this page, I just click right here on the side of the words that are here. And now I can add video. I can add video from my Google Drive. I can add video from Screencastify. I can add video from YouTube. If I click on video, look what it does. I can add the URL here for either a YouTube video or a Vimeo video. Now, Vimeo, it doesn't work in our district. We are blocked, so just be aware of that. But we aren't blocked from YouTube. Not all YouTube are not. So they could put a URL to a YouTube video in here, or maybe it's a video that you created and you want to put it on yours. You can also drag and drop video. You have video on your desktop, and you just drag it in there and drop it in there. You can add from Google Photos, because Google Photos also will take some of your videos. I can look in there and find a video and pop it in there. Once I do that, I mean, it's in there, and I'm good to go. I can also get, again, from my Google Drive. Okay. And what it's doing now, I got a little pop-up window that's asking me which account I'm going to use. I just kind of clicked out of it. Okay. And I can look for Screencastify. And it'll bring up everything for my Screencastify. And here's some videos that some people have shared with me from the different HEs that we've done. Now, this is just a Screencastify video. Okay. All right. Pop it in there. And now it's going to transfer the video. And so the video is going to go in right here. Okay. And while it's doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and I can click right down below, and again, I get those same options. Image, the same thing that when we did for the header, I can add images in here as well. Okay. Files. This is how I put in the spreadsheets. I clicked File, and then it says, okay, you want to use your asset library? Do you want to use Google Drive? Of course, I'm going to use Google Drive, and I'm going to search for those documents in my Google Drive. I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of that. I'm going to go ahead and show you. We have audio files. On one of my pages, I actually have an audio file. I put a song in there because it's a page with my kids and stuff, and so I put a song in there. So if you can upload just about anything from your Google Drive. And audio, you've got kids who use Twisted Wave, and it sends it straight to their Google Drive, so they could actually record themselves. Maybe they're recording something for the about their family, a poem, whatever it may be, and you want them to put it into their bulb. They just click audio and they find the file and pop it in there. And you can also add URLs, so you can add URLs from anywhere on the web. If it's a URL, you can pop it in there as well. And this kind of saves automatically, so you don't have to really worry about it not saving. Now this says not published because it saved it, but it's not published, which means that nobody else will be able to see it except for me. If you go and search for bulb, you'll just see my published pages. You won't see this page because this page is not published. To make it published, I click here. And again, if you have questions or something, please chime in, because I can't see any of the chat or anything, and I want to make sure that I am addressing anything that you might have. Okay, to publish the page, I have to make it visible to somebody. So I can make it visible to my organization. I can make it visible to YISD, and the group is led as the same. But when Clever comes back in, and it's going to roster your classes for you. So under your groups here, you're going to see if you teach, different periods through the day, you're going to see your different groups here for that. If you're first grade teacher, I think they even are doing it by subject for the lower grades, elementaries as well. I'm not sure, but that's what I hear. So I can choose which group that I'm going to publish this to. If I don't want to publish it to a group, then I'm just going to leave this blank, and I can search for users. So maybe I want my teacher, who happens to be Mr. Snyder. And I don't know why Matthew, there he is, William Snyder. Okay, so now he's up here. So he's going to be the only one that's going to be able to see my bulb besides me if I were to click publish. If I got the wrong person, or I don't want to share it out with Mr. Snyder anymore, all I have to do is click on the X, and it's gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I can also choose to put this page within one of the collections that I have. Maybe I just created the page and I'm like, oh wait, I want to make this for and put this into my collection. It'll show you your collections, and I'm going to go ahead and put it under my life experience, that collection there. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that I've published it. I don't think I published it. I think it clicked away, and I click publish. And when it comes back on, you're going to see that right here it says publish. So I know that this work is actually ready to go. If I don't want this page anymore, maybe, you know, this isn't the page that I wanted, or I'm just practicing, because we all want to do that. We all want to practice. Up here in the three dots, you've heard me say this a million times. If you've been in any of my trainings, the three dots mean something that's awesome is in there. In Google, anywhere, just about. So I'm going to click here, and I can delete the page if I want to. But I want you to notice this one right here. We talked about feedback. I can actually have my students comment on each other's pages if I want to. I can allow comments, or I can take off comments. That might be something I can leave comments too for my students on their bold pages. So maybe this would be another way, you know, I want them to create a family page, or a page about something that they're really awesome at, right? And then I can actually go in and make those comments to my students, and then I can have my students make comments to each other. Of course, the expectations would be that those comments are going to be positive, and it's going to be better than, yeah, awesome, dude. No, that's not a real comment. It should be positive, but I really liked how you put your video together on there. This is so great, you know, whatever it might be. But it just shouldn't be just, yeah, that's awesome. So, but you can actually turn that on or off with the little toggle switch that's there. And you can do the preview of the live view, so you can see what this looks like as a presentation format. And then of course you can just delete the page. And I'm going to just delete this page, because this was just a practice page for me today. Okay. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and go back out here to my data page, because I did want to show you one other part to this data page. And this is something that a lot of teachers are doing. They're getting these badges from us. They're coming to all of these trainings, and we're providing them with digital badges. And students are also able to get our digital badges. So what, you know, they might need a space for them, because some people, they start to put them on their email, and then they've got, you know, 35 badges in their email. I've seen this. I know who you are out there. And well, instead of just doing that, I mean, I'm okay with that. If the email people are okay with that, I don't have a problem with it. But you can also put them into a digital badge page. So again, this is some more of that data. You know, these are more accomplishments, right? Let me present this page. And so what I did was I kind of made this as like a template page. So if anybody finds my page, you can actually copy this page and then make it your own. But what I did was I just took a spreadsheet. I did a 4x3, and I just popped in all of my my badges that I currently have. And if you want a copy of this, you just click copy, and then it'll make a copy of the spreadsheet for you, and then you can pop that in on your site. It'll make a copy for you in your Google Drive, and then you find it and put it into your badge page. Okay. But this is just another place for them to store, because like I said, I know a lot of the students are getting badges, and then all of our students will be getting a badge for their digital citizenship. And so some of them may not know how, you know, where to put them or what they should do with them. And since we're in this remote environment right now, you know, before, some of the kids, they would print them out and they would put them on their Chromebooks, and their teachers would see them, and, you know, their friends would see them. Well, that's not going to happen right now. But in this digital world, anybody will be able to see their badges, you know, in their portfolio, in their bulb. So this could be all part of the digital binder that we have for our kids. It doesn't just have to be about that academic data. That academic data is so important. Don't get me wrong, but there's more to our students than just the academic side, just like there's more to us than just the teacher side. We do have a personal side, and this is a place where you can put it all in one place. All right. Are there any questions? I'm looking at the time here, and we have about 5 minutes.
Yes, hi, it's Mr. Ellsworth. I have a question. Have teachers received any training on bulb?
We've offered a couple of Mini Monday sessions. We have a video that's going to be going up this week on YouTube about our Mini Monday session. We had one this past Monday, I believe, and we will be offering it again in July. We've also had some other trainings in the past, I think, for our ITS teachers, and that. But if you haven't had training on it, you know, you can always come to our virtual office, and we can kind of walk you through some things as well.
Well, I know, I mean, admin, we had
Yes.
some of it, but I was wondering if the teachers had done anything at all on it. like that was required?
They have. We were looking to do a competition. We were going to do it in the spring, and then that kind of didn't happen because COVID hit us all. But we were going to have the teachers create 3 pages, and one of them was an all about me page. One of them was an SEL philosophy type of page, and then one was like a showcase of things that were going on at your campus. Well, of course, we couldn't take any pictures at our campus. We couldn't do any of that stuff. So we held it off, and it should be happening sometime in the fall, we're hoping. I know the higher ups are they are expecting us to use it in some way with students, and I just thought this is just a way that we could really showcase all the things that our students are doing, as well as our teachers. Our teachers should be doing it too.
Misha, I just want to add that some ITS teachers may have already trained the teachers.
Yes. Oh, yes. Because that happened in the fall. When we gave you all the training, because we really weren't there in the spring. And then you all were turning that around at the campuses. And I know that was happening. And that's why we had the bulb challenge out there, because the teachers had become aware of it. But I know what happens is, just like with everything else, the COVID hit us, and that's where our focus was. It was on that. It was on Google Classroom, and that bulb just kind of got pushed to the back, and some of us even completely forgot about it. I get it. It's not something I'm using right now. It's not something I'm worried about right now, but we're trying to bring it back up a little bit, just to say, hey, here's another option for you to use for your digital binders. And again, this might be a way to kind of put everything into one place. So, and I'm not saying, yes, you have to do it this way, because that's not my intent at all. You do what works for you. Any other questions or comments? We're down to about 3 minutes. So,
Micha, I actually have 3 questions.
Okay. Sure.
So, like for the students, when they create their light bulb, are we gonna have access to their light bulb?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Only if they give us permission, or how does that work?
No, actually, you're gonna have access to them because they're part of your class. It's gonna roster them. So let me go back to my bulb, because I'm actually still presenting my bulb. So you're going to have something called groups. Okay. And if I click on me right now, here's the activity that's been going on in bulb, but under groups right here, you're going to actually have your classes. Right now I have Isleta, because that's who I'm kind of connected with. I'm connected with everybody in Isleta, but then you're going to have your classes right here, and you'll be able to click in there and then see their bulbs.
Who's creating those classes?
It's actually being created through Clever and through the rostering, through the SIS.
Will those be ready at the beginning of school?
Yes, right now Clever is frozen, because they're getting ready to roll all of the data over. And once Clever opens up again, when school starts again here in about a month, then all of that information, all of our classes are going to be rostered based on our schedule. Now, yes, schedules change, students move, that first week, it's always so crazy because kids are moving and jumping around. And this year, I don't know what it's going to look like the first week of school with how everything is going to work out. I just know that once a schedule is set for a student and they are associated with you as a teacher, then you will see their bulb. If they've created one, they've got to create one for you to see it. Any other questions? Got about a minute.
When students create like you said that they have 3 pages, right? Like their data collection, their personal, and so forth. So is that create a page or create a collection?
So remember, each collection is made up out of pages. So they're going to create a page, right? So like I had a page for my academic data, and I had a page for my non-academic data and my badges, and I had that all under the collection of my data. And then I had a portion that we didn't look at that was my personal stuff. I had pictures of my boys and talked about my experience in the district, and that was a whole separate collection. And inside of that collection, I had all my pages. Does that make sense? And again, we're not saying like how many pages that you need to have for your students. I was just trying to show you an example of how you can track data with your students using Bulb.
Okay. And then if you're departmentalized, let's say it's a 5th grade class and they go to 3 different teachers. So then how would you
So then
teachers?
you would still have the group of your students because they would come and see you, right? Because you're tied to them based on your schedule, right? And those other teachers would also have access to those students' bulbs. So it doesn't, it's not just for one teacher. So like I teach 5th grade. I teach 5th grade science. So when the kids come to see me, we're departmentalized. So whatever I see these kids at 10:30 or whatever, based on how my scheduling clerk set up my schedule, I will have those kids tied to me because I do have to give them grades, and that's how that's going to work.
Oh,
And they
okay.
have they have access to the everything in that bulb, like all the different parts of it.
Yes. So as a teacher, you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to see all their entire bulb, their entire portfolio, and the students also will be able to add any number of the elements that I added to mine. They have all of the same features, everything. Everybody's bulb works the same way. So, yes. Any other questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
So if the students have to create only one bulb and use it in several classes?
Yes, there's only going to be one. They're only going to have one portfolio. They're not going to be creating several. Now, like as a teacher, like I'm a science teacher, so I might tell that student, can you create a page for me? Can you create a page on sharks for me? Because we've been studying that, and so then that could be like an assignment I give them, that I want them to create a page in their bulb. But it's going to be one container, and inside there's all these other containers, and I'm just one page is what I'm assigning to that student. And you saw how easy it was for them to create a page. It'll take them 10 minutes to put the whole thing together, if that. So yes, just one bulb per student. Well, we are out of time, and I hope that this was beneficial to you. If you do have any other questions, you can always email me. And then, of course, we are in our virtual office from 7:30 to 5:30, Monday through Thursday, except for next week. We won't be there, but we will be there tomorrow, and then we will be there the following week. So thank you so much for being here. It was very quiet in here. I know everybody had their mics muted, but it was very quiet. But thank you so much for being here and listening and learning a little bit about bulb.
See you later, Misha.
See ya. Have a good one.
As always.
Oh, thank you.